Welcome to Chennai City Garden. So today in this video we are going to see about Cocopeat. What are the benefits and uses of Cocopeat? That is what we are going to see today. And if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for notifications. So let us get into the video. Generally we can say the Cocopeat is a kind of a byproduct of the coconut. If you take a complete coconut, the outer shell, the hardened shell will be surrounded by three kind of things: the cocoa fiber, the cocoa peat, and the coconut husk. So in that, the cocoa peat is a kind of a product which can be used for gardening and a different kind of things. Actually, if you take it, is a kind of a waste product in that coconut, but still it is very much useful in gardening. Generally we used to buy it as a brick. It starts from 1 kg and 5 kg and around 10 kgs. Generally I used to buy the 5 kg one. 5 kg one can expand up to 50 kg of it, because when it is soaked in water it will expand into that much amount of cocoa peat. So it is always good to soak it in water and then use it. Only then we can get the appropriate amount of cocoa peat that has been compressed into it. If we see before 15 to 20 years, I don't think we have heard about this Cocopeat or used it, because at that time we used to use the normal garden soil for our plants to grow. But nowadays, because of the popularity of the terrace garden and the rooftop garden, the Cocopeat has become, you can say it is one of the important thing in your garden. So if you add it in your soil mix, the cocopeat can retain the water up to 75%. So according to me, you have to include cocopeat in your soil mix. So this is a kind of a soil mix video you can see here. For a 12-inch bag, I used to add an amount of cocopeat as a bottom layer, and as the second layer I used to mix an equal amount of cocopeat and cow manure. And then as a third layer I used to mix cocopeat and vermicompost at an equal amount, and I used to add it as the third layer. So this is how my soil mix works. Sometimes I used to add some amount of soil, but most of the times I don't add it, because if you take a terrace garden, if you want to grow more number of plants, for example if you want to grow 100 to 150 bags of plants, then it is very difficult for us to add more soil to the grow bag, because it can add up to the weight. Generally we don't want to add more weight to our terrace, because at times it can spoil the terrace. So in that case, cocopeat was the proper and the appropriate replacement that we can add it to our grow bag. And the next important thing is we can use cocopeat for all types of plants, because it has a neutral pH, we can say. It has a pH of around 5.5 to 6.5, which is around neutral. So there are different things which are used in place of cocopeat. There is one thing called a peat moss that was used for a long period of time, but it has a very acidic pH. It is around 4.5 to 5, which is very acidic. So as a proper replacement to peat moss, the cocopeat can be used very effectively. The next important use of cocopeat is that it can reduce frequent watering, especially if you are living in a city where you are using your terrace to do your gardening. Then in summer it is very difficult for us to water very frequently. So in that case, if you are including cocopeat in your soil mix, it can reduce the frequent watering. As it can retain more water, we can just water once in 2 days. In that way it can reduce some work in our garden. The next thing is that we can generally replace the soil with the cocopeat. We can completely replace the soil with the cocopeat, because generally a plant does not need the soil effectively, because a plant needs just the proper amount of nutrients, so called the NPK and other micronutrients. That's it. So in that way we can give all kind of fertilizer which has these kind of nutrients, and we can add the cocopeat and use it as a proper growing medium. That's it. We can replace the soil with this. The next important use is that you can use Cocopeat in methods like hydroponics, where we just use the water for giving nutrients to the plants. So in that case, you can use the Cocopeat as a growing medium for the plant and place it inside the water. So in that way, it can be used effectively in hydroponics too. The next use of Cocopeat is that when you are giving fertilizer to any type of plants, just mix a good amount of Cocopeat with it, because it has a neutral pH and the aeration will be so good. So in that way, you can add some amount of Cocopeat to the fertilizer and then you can add it to the plants. In that way, the fertilizer can be utilized by the plant. Like this, there are different types of uses for this Cocopeat. And the next use is that you can use it as a growing medium for seedlings. Generally, for preparing any types of seedlings, I used to use 50% of Cocopeat and 50% of vermicompost. That should be the proper soil mix for preparing seedlings. So in that way, you can use the Cocopeat as a growing medium for the seedlings. So next comes the price. Generally, in a nursery or a gardening shop, you can buy a 5 kg Cocopeat brick for around 120 to 150 rupees, and in online it was around 300 to 400. A 5 kg brick is around 300 to 400. In that case, it is always better to buy it in your nearby nursery or a gardening shop. And I have purchased both and I have used it. The nursery one was it contains some amount of fiber, cocoa fiber in it, but the online version, it has more amount of peat in it, the Cocopeat. So in that way, the online version was somewhat good, but comparing the price, you can buy it in the nearby nursery. So these are the benefits and the uses that we can get by using Cocopeat in a garden. So if you have, most of them are using it now. Still, if you are new to gardening, you can use this Cocopeat effectively in your garden. And thank you for watching this video. And if you are using it already, please give your valuable comments in the comment section. So do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you for watching this video. Thank you.